Here we go. We're here. We're live. Good evening, everybody. It's Monday, Manic Monday. And if this were not a more Manic Monday, and Trevor's going to be talking about
Manic
crazy
Monday.
stuff happening, like facts, reality, and some of the things we're going to be talking
Well, it's not
about.
going to feel like reality.
No, it's not.
When I describe some of the shenanigans, notice I use the word shenanigans because I'm wearing an Irish hat.
Yeah. So thank you for joining. If you're on the replay, we want to thank you for hanging out with us. We are live now, and we're going to be talking about some of the SBA stuff. SBA has been for a solid 12 years.
12 months.
12 months. Sorry. 12 months.
Maybe you should be wearing the hat.
I know. They've been asking for us to have patience. Well, what I say is we need to, if you want us to have some patience, we need to see some progress. Okay. That is what I want to say. And I know actually you're going to talk about some of the nuances and some of the things that you're seeing.
There's no nuance.
Okay.
It's brute force and ignorance.
All right. So
you notice I'm contradicting a lot of what you're saying. Does that annoy you?
Oh, it's so annoying.
Welcome to the SBA process.
Yeah.
1 year in on COVID.
So do you want to start with
everything?
Okay, but maybe just like, let's chunk it down a little bit on some of the basic things that we're seeing with the dreaded and all the forms that people like. They mostly talk about Form 2202 and 4506T.
That's not what I'm going to talk about right now.
Oh, okay. So then go for it, Trev. Open
First
it
of all,
up.
I want to say hi to our new friend, Kathleen.
Hey, Nairobi.
Our new client, Kathleen, down there in Florida, helping horsies.
Oh, I love it.
We have a couple of horses across the road here, Kathleen, our neighbor across the road, and then our other neighbor up the street, who's our friend.
That's a lot of horses.
Whose husband was the inspiration for us starting Aurora Consulting as a finance business.
Yes, that is
and
true.
She's got a beautiful rescue horse whose name is Kara.
Kara, yes. It wasn't Kara, but now it's Kara.
It's Kara. And I love when Kara comes by, walking by the house, and I run outside with an apple.
Yes. And
okay, that's the nice part of my conversation.
That's the nice part, and that's where it ends.
Okay.
Where's the sound effects when you need it?
The inspiration for tonight's show is not only because we realized late last night that we had no video in the can for this week's video production, but also some of the frustrations that we are experiencing with the SBA process. But to kind of introduce it, I want to share two comments that I saw this morning on Facebook. On a couple of different chat groups on Facebook, I'm trying to help people give free advice and answer their questions and kind of sort out the anecdotal morass of maniacal misery that's going on as people struggle with the COVID-19 pandemic and try to keep their businesses alive. One gal commented about the PPP process. What she posted was something like this. Hey, so I didn't get first round last year. I just got my first round recently. And I understand that I can apply for second round once I've spent the money. So I'm a sole proprietor, she said. So I paid myself. I've spent the money. But now the lender is telling me that I put in my second round application, and the lender is telling me that the SBA website does not indicate yet that my first round loan has been funded. And until the SBA website shows that, my lender said they cannot move forward on my second round application. Okay. That's disturbing enough, you would think. Mm-hmm. No, here's the part where I want to, honestly, I'm getting a little verklempt. I want to start crying because here's what the woman said to finish her statement. She said, I don't know what to do. I really need the money. And the lender said I should not file another application with them or with another lender. She goes, and I don't want to be accused of committing fraud. Mm-hmm. How terrible is that?
Well,
that an honest small business owner who is trying to just get a few shekels to pay her bills and put food on the table and keep her business alive, her overriding concern is not getting the money. Her overriding concern is being pinged as committing fraud by the federal government.
Right.
This is a terrible message that SBA, yes, hello, SBA, I'm talking to you. This is a terrible message that you are sending to people.
Well,
you're sending the kind of message like, oh my God, did you hear about the plane crash? I'll never get on a plane ever again. Scaring the living out of people who will never get on a plane again because of one plane crash. What? It's actually worse than that, because we hear it from people all the time.
All day, every day.
Trevor,
every day.
I don't want to use the money incorrect. Or we have a client in Texas. Hey, so I got $53,000 EIDL last year, and I need to use it this way, but I'm afraid to use it because I'm afraid of what it said in the loan agreement about fraud and this. I don't want to go to jail, Trevor. What? Like, I loaned money to people for 30 years to buy houses. I never had anybody ever tell me the words, hey, I want to buy a house. I'm afraid to apply for the loan because I'm afraid I might go to jail. What?
Yeah. Well, all these reports about fraud are becoming super rampant of, what's going on. And so
we're
now,
not taking away from the fact there's a lot of fraud. There is a lot of fraud, but
I guess what I don't understand is, okay, so there's always some fraud everywhere that happens. So it's so bad that the SBA now has these protocols that are making the honest people suffer and wait and delay the money getting to them because they need a wet signature. No, they don't.
Which
they need
leads
a digital
to the
signature.
second comment.
No, they don't. They need this 6 times.
The second comment.
I've sent this form.
In today's Facebook group. The second comment is from a young man who got his invitation for the targeted EIDL advance.
Yeah, that's another conundrum.
Which was included in the second stimulus and allegedly was supposed to roll out by the middle of January, and you were supposed to get the money within 21 days. That's what it says in the legislation. So this fellow posts his timeline. He posted the whole timeline. He said, I got the invitation on February 12th and did this date, February 26th, IRS 4506, and submitted the paperwork again. Did this, did that. And he says,
you okay?
He says, 50 days I've been waiting since I got the invitation. 50 days. In the COVID pandemic, 50 days is a lifetime.
Yeah.
And he's finishing it by saying, am I going to be 100 years old by the time? Here's why these two things are inspirational, why Linda keeps bringing up the SBA
and why
forms.
I keep interrupting you, because I actually had
1 year in. 1 year in.
And there's no progress at all.
Well, there is some, but not enough.
Not enough for when someone on our YouTube channel comments that says, he obviously needs this money and he's going to be helping his mom in some capacity. I don't know the backstory, but he says, by the time I get this money, my mother will be dead. I mean, I'm not even making this up. This is in a comment in one of our videos. So it's, and he said he's beyond angry. So,
well, Taylor Drake,
who
we had a wonderful chat with a few weeks ago. Taylor, you're awesome. And I'm sorry I missed your call the other day. Call me back tomorrow. But Taylor writes here, there's a huge difference between being patient and being just ignored. It's so hard to keep being given the runaround. So I have to, after we finish our video, I have to call a person at the SBA to respond to a voicemail I received on Saturday, because one of our clients got an EIDL last year and is required under the terms of the loan agreement to submit a board resolution.
Yep.
And also
the
hazard insurance. Now, this particular person for the SBA is an attorney. I know this because I had an email exchange with this person last year when we submitted the board resolution. And at that time, I said to him, we will review the insurance on behalf of our client to determine if it's in compliance with the loan agreement. By the way, I said to him, can you give us a little more guidance? Because the type of business the client has, I'm not an insurance person. Linda is, and she's going to talk more about this insurance nonsense in a moment. But he was very good. And I said to him, you must be a really good attorney. So I have to call him in a few minutes because he left this voicemail, because I know he's following up saying, where's the insurance? And we had an exchange last week with an SBA representative on another client file about the insurance.
This is not a good situation.
Here's the thing, SBA.
Are they really listening?
Instead of putting these folks to work, to check off boxes, to collect documents on loans, how about allocating those human resources over to the other side so that folks can get the money they need?
Yeah.
You see, so we got two things going on. We have the SBA making everybody terrified that they're going to be lumped in with the criminals.
Or they're not even getting any money.
And they're not getting money because they're putting protocols in place that make you jump through. Jump through hoops is too nice. That's a circus expression.
Too nice.
I'm, like climb Mount Everest backwards while singing the Star Spangled Banner in Latin while you're upside down on your head up Mount Everest. That's how you have to go because of these protocols that are in place to prevent fraud. But also, you're allocating resources to people who are collecting documents on loans that are closed already. SBA cannot say to me, we don't have enough people.
Well, and this is the other thing too on the insurance. And this is a fact. They're collecting insurance because that's the way it's been written in the agreement since
for the natural
disaster loans, which when there's a tornado, a fire, a hurricane, or a flood, and there's physical damage to a piece of property, and you file an EIDL application, there's a finite number. It's
not necessarily for physical damage, but it's two different loans. Well, but either way,
some can be allocated for physical property damage, and some can be allocated towards if you close your business because of this natural disaster and because you can't go to your office because there's a flood or whatever. But this is the thing with COVID, it's a different type of disaster that isn't predicated on property damage that has to be physically repaired, thus the loan being a certain amount that can be justified, which is how the insurance then can cover the piece of property.
So it's
round and round. Because
we have a client who we have two clients actually, or Amazon resellers. We have another client does software development. How do they get hazard insurance?
Right.
They don't. It doesn't exist. Do you know why we know it doesn't exist? Because she's an insurance broker.
Because
and she called the Hartford.
I called
one of the biggest insurance carriers in the nation.
I called some of the national insurance organizations that represent insurance agencies, and I did a deep dive. I have an opinion letter ready to go to someone who will listen to me at the SBA, and I have everything outlined of any particular consideration of this insurance conundrum. But before I can go on and on talking about this insurance.
Hold on.
But
I have to point out something really hysterical. So Linda's smartphone, her iPhone's down here on the desk. And just a moment ago, he's gone. But just a moment ago, there was while she's talking, down here, there was a video appeared in the screen in the corner here, and there was a guy with a big fur. He looked like an Ewok from Star Wars.
That's Chris Brogan.
All right. Well, he was talking,
and it was for StreamYard, which is what we're on right now.
Well, he was talking while you were talking, and it looked like
you're messing up my flow here.
Your voice was coming out of his mouth.
You're messing up my flow.
It was really funny.
So this is.
I had to hold back the laughter.
Right. So
and this is not a laughing episode.
Okay. Do you need me to kick you under the table to stop?
5 times already. Yeah. Oh my God.
So, one of the things for those of you who have seen, if you're still with us, that you've seen our videos, we have been, I think, incredibly gracious to the SBA with actually begging some of our viewers to be patient, and they have millions of applications. And we go on and on about giving the SBA the benefit of the doubt. But that was also, when it was only 2 months or 3 months or whatever. And
why am I wearing the hat?
But now it's a year later.
Because what happened on St. Patrick's Day last year?
We were shut down, and
our financing business evaporated because the banks stopped lending.
You lost $6,000 of business from playing live music at nursing homes and bars for St. Patrick's Day.
And on March 18th and then March 23rd, our first EIDL client. So we've been doing this for a year. And 1 year in, and I guess the reason I wanted to do this tonight is because in just a few days in office.
Wait a minute.
Isabel.
You didn't want to do this tonight. I told him we had no videos for our Monday Advancing with Financing. He was like, what? We have videos, blah, 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 blah. I said, we have no videos.
All right, don't throw me under the bus.
I'm throwing you under the bus. Dude.
Isabel Guzman, in just a few days in office, has already demonstrated she is the rock star that I predicted she was going to be. Last week, she made the announcement they extended the deferment period on the EIDL loan, right, to 2022, and they've increased the loan limit to $500,000, and now it's going to be 24 months working capital.
Yes.
So we need Isabel and the other folks at SBA to hear us, please.
On the process.
You're in this 1 year. Business owners cannot be patient anymore. We have reconsiderations we're working on. We see people on the internet talking about it weeks and months.
Yeah.
Submitting the same document 6 times. Nobody at the SBA giving them guidance or clarity, not answering questions. Enough is enough.
Right.
Folks are desperate.
And, you know, look, here, Kathy Lee and Alejandro are saying how they are submitting things that they need to, that they're required to. And, you know, the thing is, a lot of people are doing exactly what the SBA is telling them to do, and then they don't receive them, or they have to do it again. Or the best is how you showed me in the portal where SBA says that a document is incorrect. And it's like, well, why?
Yeah, that was just a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
I uploaded the document last night. And it's the same document that I submitted for the client's I submitted the client's reconsideration file on St. Patrick's Day on March 17th. It's a new client, signed up with us. He's up in Portland, Oregon, and he just signed up with us, and he had all his documents in place. This guy's like the perfect client. You say, we need all of this, and everything shows up the next day. It was amazing. And it was clean. And we're going to talk about documents in a minute. Yeah. And I put his file in that night, and everything I submitted. Yesterday, we got an email from SBA asking for 4 items that I had already submitted. So I submitted them again. And then we got another email today from SBA, and I go onto the website, and it's asking for 5 of the items I've already resubmitted last night and submitted originally on March 17th.
Okay. Are you done? Because we have a couple things I want to say. Okay. So Erica Brown, bringing back up Erica Brown. Do you have any idea how to handle the fact that IRS is sending blank transcripts for the targeted advance?
I don't understand the question, Erica.
Yeah. We're not sure why there would be blank transcripts. That's weird.
Can't really address that.
Yeah,
we're not tax professionals. I'm sorry, Erica.
Sorry about that. And then Alejandro, they called and said, get your transcript. Makes no sense, but I need the money.
I saw a moment ago, Alejandro, you mentioned that you got your own transcript online. So this is one of the what we call the workaround. Okay, so I want to mesh this with the hazard insurance requirement. This is how you know things are broken at the SBA. Okay, so going back to the hazard insurance real quick, we constantly get SBA representatives when we push back and we say, how can we give you insurance for a business that you literally cannot buy insurance for? What? Or like we have our client in Philadelphia is a software developer. He got $150,000 because he has pretty big revenues. He got a $150,000 EIDL loan. And if he were, I said to Linda, what kind of insurance could he get that might possibly meet this? She said, well, maybe he get a cyber insurance policy. I go, what's the premium on that? What's ballpark? Yes.
You can't do that. And first of all, that was not in the script. Okay.
Let's say ballpark, it's $2,000 or $3,000.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. There's so many variables
and what kind of
that go into
it's not going to take him to 80% of 150, which is required under the loan agreement. But we get SBA agents all the time making statements on the phone and an email saying, no, that's okay. Just send what you've got. We just want to have something in the file. I'm sorry, but you see what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
That's some bureaucratic stuff right there. That's just, I got to get this job done, and I don't care what the client puts in the file, except what you're doing is you're putting the borrower in legal jeopardy, because on the loan agreement, it says very clearly, well before the whole civil and criminal penalties part, which scares the bejesus out of everybody, it says for hazard insurance up to 80% of the value of your loan to cover fire, lightning, water, etc. It doesn't say, oh, just send us what you've got, because a verbal representation by an SBA agent does not supersede a legal agreement. Yeah. So there's that. Now there's the transcripts. I want to talk about Alejandro and the transcripts.
Okay, let's go back to his
comment. What is an IRS 4506T? You know what it is? These things started making an appearance around 1996 in the mortgage business. It's around 1996 that we started to see that as a request coming over, where if you had a loan application, it was all, in the beginning, it was only FHA government loans, and then it became everybody. But originally FHA government loans. If the client's application had tax returns in the file, for whatever reason, they own rental property, they get capital gains income they're using to qualify, they have Schedule C income. If their tax return appears in the file, then you had to fill out a 4506T in the bank, that was us, had to send that transcript request to the IRS, get a transcript to verify that the return that you have in the file is the actual return that was filed with the IRS. Because, believe it or not, people filed in their loan applications fraudulent fake tax returns. So this was a quality control measure to prevent fraud. Eventually, it became the norm on all mortgage applications everywhere, regardless of whether there's a tax return or not. Okay, so it's a fraud prevention technique to make sure the document given by the borrower, the applicant, is what was filed. Okay. Alejandro points out that he went online and got his own transcript from irs.gov, which you can do, and he gave that to the SBA. Do you know why Alejandro did that? Because the SBA agents have said to people, well, you know, we couldn't get the transcript. So if you get it yourself, send it to us and we'll use that.
Except Erica Brown just said
it makes no sense.
It had to come directly from the IRS.
Okay. So Erica got the one agent at the SBA who actually has a brain and knows how to use it. Because I've personally spoken to SBA agents who've told me, well, you know, Trevor, if they get that. And that's why Alejandro did it. Because somebody at SBA probably told him that. Oh, this is like the SBA agent I spoke to 2 weeks ago. She was a really good agent too. Okay. So this was a situation about a driver's license. Reconsideration file in process. And when my documents go in, I'm Mr. OCD.
His files are clean.
And those, I mean, you know, we drive our clients a little nuts sometimes. Listen, we need this. It's got to be right. My files go in complete from the beginning. I don't want to give anybody at the SBA any excuse to either delay the file or to say no. That's my MO, my modus operandi. It's how I worked as a loan officer. Same thing here today as Aurora Consulting for our clients. So back in December, I had a couple of files, EIDL, new applications. I put them in. Loan officer sends emails, 2 different loan officers, 2 different files. A couple of other items. Also, I want the borrower, the applicant, to take a photo with their smartphone of their driver's license and email it directly from their smartphone.
Which was the first time.
Linda, you're kind of tech savvy. If I take a picture with this, what's the file type?
It's a JPEG.
JPEG. Oh, JPEG. Is it a PDF?
No.
Oh, because I would have to convert it to a PDF.
Yes.
Okay. So I called one of the loan officers. Actually, I called one. I emailed the other one. I said, listen, we're the authorized representative. You've got our letter in the file. We filed the application. Our name is on the application as the authorized representative. Why I have the driver's licenses. I have clear color PDF of the clients. Can I just those to you?
Nope.
They both said, no, I want the client, the borrower, to send it to me directly, which in one case, the client just did it. But the other case, I said to her, this guy is working 2 jobs to pay the bills, which is why he's applying for EIDL, because he needs money. And I'm not going to get him on the phone till 12:30 tonight. And even then, it's going to take him 2 days to do something simple because he's been our client. We know how he works. All right, send me what you have, Trevor. I'll see if I can accept it. I emailed it over the PDF, and she said, okay, it's fine. And she approved the loan, and he got his money. So 2 weeks ago, I'm on the phone with another SBA agent because we had a reconsideration, and I filed the driver's license as a PDF with my original. I go on the portal, and it's asking for driver's license again. So I try uploading it. In this case, the client had an identity theft lock on her credit report. And because of that, the portal says, due to credit bureau lock, additional form of identification. Well, what other form? I mean, driver's license. So I had the client send me a JPEG, and it wouldn't accept it. So I called, got this nice agent on the phone. And this is what she told me. Trevor, we don't accept JPEG. I don't know who told you that.
Insert sound.
I don't know who told you that, but we don't accept JPEGs.
Listen,
PDFs only. Except, you know who told me they wanted those JPEGs? 2 loan officers. Their signatures in the SBA emails said loan officers. Are you seeing a pattern here? No, you're not seeing a pattern. You know why? Because there is no pattern.
Listen,
because there's no standards.
Taylor said it about 20 minutes ago. Okay, being patient, being ignored, and being given the runaround. And that's really why my
Isabel Guzman
main banner is...
We need you, please.
We can go on and on. These stories are legendary. Of
wildfire management crazy and sweep it up and clean it up because business owners are running out of time. I'm talking about days and weeks before they are done, which means the whole EIDL program will have failed.
Yes.
Because those businesses that got a little bit of money who are trying to get more or didn't get any and are trying to get some
enough because they had the caps.
Their businesses are going to fail. And if the purpose of the EIDL COVID program was to help maintain continuity of small business, to maintain the continuity of the American economy, it's going to fail.
Mm-hmm. I guess what I don't understand is the Small Business Administration is everyone's relying on the SBA, except they're supposedly woefully underfunded. It's sort of a joke how much money they get.
It's not supposedly. We know for a fact it's woefully
right. It's
underfunded.
Public information.
$854 million as a budget in 2019 is a joke.
It was 717, right? Million or something like that. Anyway.
2015.
How are they held with such high regard and responsibility is beyond me when this is what's happening in these businesses. And, you know, there's 30.7 million businesses in the country and the SBA is responsible. This is, they're supposed to be advocates. The business.
Well, I want to blame the politicians because the politicians are famous for saying, hey, you know, small business is the backbone of the American economy. Great. Yeah. Put your money where your mouth is. Get some funding into the SBA. I want to go back to Erica Brown's statement about the IRS. Listen, this is what's going on at the IRS for the last several decades. A certain party in the United States government has been consistently, year after year, pushing to defund the IRS. We've all heard the phrase, defund the police. Well, the Republican Party for decades has been defunding the IRS. Taking money away. So the IRS does not have enough money to hire people to get your tax returns filed off their desk, Erica, so that a transcript comes back with a positive return that a tax return was filed, or to go after people who are cheats. Because listen, if the IRS had been locking up the people who are doing tax fraud, there probably would have been a lot less fraud in the EIDL program. Or if the IRS had been able to really have a good database together, the SBA wouldn't need us to jump through hoops showing driver's licenses and this. All the SBA would have to do is go to the IRS and say, is this a legitimate business? Instead of asking people to show a bank statement from February 2020 to show that their business was a viable entity before COVID. Like, this is your quality control process? So it's not just the SBA underfunded, it's the IRS is underfunded too.
Right. So, I mean, I just, you know, Trevor, so I handle all.
No, Taylor, you're not alone in this chaos and you're welcome. I like making people laugh.
So, you know, Trevor does all the processing. I handle the marketing and just to kind of like, if you're following me on Twitter, you see some of my rants on Twitter and here on YouTube. And we're actually on Pinterest as well. So that's fun. But Trevor does all the processing because he's got 30 plus years as a loan officer and he understands a process when it comes to underwriting for financing. So we felt we were grateful that we had the experience and the resources of undertaking this to help business. We've had a number of SBA agents that we talked to who have said, thank goodness that you're helping some of these business owners. It's like the SBA agents are telling us, thank you
for doing what you're doing to help small business.
It's absolutely insane.
The frontline agents know. I think Erica just posted a moment ago.
Thank you, Alejandro.
Or Taylor just posted about, you know, you call today, you speak to one agent. You know, I have a famous line. You call the SBA and you ask one question. Will you accept a JPEG for a driver's license? One question. You call 5 SBA agents, you're going to get 14 different answers.
And
that's not a standard. Listen about the PPP. How about this? The PPP.
I do not want to talk about the PPP.
In the PPP guidelines, it says,
it's just as bad.
If you go to the FAQ from the SBA dated, I think it's March 6th of 2021, one of the very first questions, and this is an FAQ essentially for lenders, but it's what's available on the SBA website. And it says, as a lender, am I permitted to create my own PPP application, or do I have to use the SBA's application? You know what the SBA says? No, it's okay. You can create your own application. This is why, one of the reasons why there's so much chaos with PPP right now. I did a screen share helping a client go on the Bank of America website to do his PPP application. I said to him, I've been filling out applications since 1989. I've never seen anything like this. It was the whole application with Bank of America was all about collecting data on the business owner so they could sell him products in the future.
Yes.
That's all it was. Because if you look at the questions on the actual PPP application, those questions were buried in, and I've seen it also online. I mean, I've been placing most of our client PPP loans. You know, we do it as a courtesy for our EIDL clients who's not permitted to charge a fee. And we've done some of them with a bank called Cross River, and their technology is exceptional, and their application is 4 pages, and it's very simple stuff. But they're one of the few lenders that's not collecting data. I've seen other online portals, and they're essentially, and they switch the questions around, you know, so you can get cross-eyed. But why would the SBA allow the banks to do this? You know, in the mortgage business, you apply for a mortgage in Alabama, or you apply for a mortgage in the Bronx or in Alaska, you're going to fill out the same application. It's called a Fannie Mae 1003. It's called a 1003 because down at the bottom of the application, it says FNMA 1003. That's the application number. It's used for Fannie Mae loans. It's used for Freddie Mac loans. It's used for FHA loans. It's used for Veterans Administration, VA loans. It's used for USDA, first-time homebuyer loans, and pretty much any other mortgage application. You go to a credit union where they're lending you their own money. It's not a program. It's not Fannie Mae or anything. It's portfolio. Guess what they're using? A Fannie Mae 1003. It's called at the top of it, it says Uniform Residential Loan Application. You know why it says uniform? Not because it's got this cool like looking tie and medals on the chest. No, because it's the same application for everybody. No chaos, no confusion. Why would the Congress and the SBA allow banks to muck up the works even worse by making their own applications? So, and by the way, these banks are making coin, baby. They are making money. The SBA is paying them fees on the back end to do these PPP loans. And the banks, no dummies, the banks, they are on to that.
They want that.
They are on to that, and they're getting that lucre. Oh, yeah, baby. And they're driving all of you batshit crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So any final...
Well, I want to talk about paperwork submissions.
Okay.
God bless you too, Alejandro. Thank you. Corey Starks, what does Corey have to say?
Corey,
you hope for the process to be streamlined. Don't be so hopeful. Stop covering up Corey.
I want to.
I'm trying to read it, and you're covering it up.
Yeah.
You know she does this. It drives me. Hopefully, the process will be streamlined for businesses that have already funded. Yeah, it's Corey. Do you read J.R.R. Tolkien, the fantasy works of Lord of the Rings? Because there's more reality in those books than your statement here of hopefully the process will be streamlined. It's not going to be streamlined
anytime soon.
It's not. I listen, as amazing as we have seen Isabel Guzman is, this is a systemic, bureaucratic, cultural problem. It's a giant knot. Listen, I've done deep dive research on SBA because I've had on the disaster loan programs. I've had clients. We have clients who hired us to write a couple of opinions. I've read the legislation all the way back to 1953. I've read OIG reports and GAO reports, 2013 after Superstorm Sandy. You know what it said in the report? It said the following. The SBA has no written guidelines. The SBA has no training for loan officers, and many loan officers at the SBA are unable to read financial statements.
And Sandy was 2012.
That's 9 years ago. So This is not a Republican Democrat problem. This is a United States government problem. That if SBA is in charge of the small business of the United States, and if small business of the United States is the backbone of American economy, then the politicians need to step up and stop buying F-35 Raptors, which barely fly to start with, for $100 million a pop, and take a few of those jet fighters and mothball them at the factory before they spend the money, and give the money to the SBA, because you all need that money. And you're entitled to that money. You know why? You're an American taxpayer. This is your taxpayer dollars.
Oh, thank you for hanging out with us, Taylor. She has to go. The baby is crying. We love when other people have babies.
Yeah, and pets. So can we talk about documents real quick?
Real quick.
Why don't you do the preamble of what I showed you? No, I don't want to say about what I showed you, but talking about document submissions and respect for the documents.
Okay. So listen, once again, the disclaimer is for a little while, we were trying to give the SBA the benefit of the doubt, and we were on their side with the whole, like, please have patience. They're doing 7 million apps. They're doing 8 million apps. They're doing 9 million apps. Okay. But now we're out of patience, as my banner says. So, but this is the thing also. As a business owner, you have a responsibility for organizing the documents that's required by the SBA so that for you to furnish to the SBA so that you can get the funds you're entitled to based on your financials. Now, I have said this in multiple videos where they're underwriting these loans. It's not on a napkin. You give them a kind of a ballpark amount on what you made, and they'll write you a check based on what you think happened in your business for a year or 2 years or the last 3 years.
Well, that was the case last year with the portal,
right?
Essentially.
But this is the thing.
That's how the fraud happened.
As a business owner, you have to have respect for the documents. You have to have respect for organizing the documents. You have to have respect with how you prepare the data that goes into how the documents are then, like garbage in, garbage out. You have to have respect because it's your business, and they're going to ask you. And if they don't understand what's going on, and they're going to put your file on the bottom of the pile because they aren't trying to figure it out. They want it right there in front of them, easy answers and checking off the boxes. If you make it difficult for them, they will delay it. If you make it difficult for them, they will decline you. You have to have respect with how these documents are organized, and then how you label them, and then how you prepare them. Let's give you an example. We're working on a deal for a small little deal. It's not even COVID related. It's not disaster related. They're trying to buy a business. They slid documents under our office door, no paperclip, as a basic minimum of just keeping these documents together. There was no paperclip. It wasn't in an envelope. It wasn't in a folder. It was just this mishmash of documents that we had to do a second time because they didn't do it correctly the first time when Trevor outlined exactly what they were supposed to provide.
They couldn't scan the documents.
And they couldn't scan it. And so they had to personally deliver the paper and then slid under the door.
But the scans looked like,
right,
somebody's beer napkin that somebody spilled a margarita on.
Listen, we know the SBA has not been the advocate we had all hoped for, that we need.
We know from our experiences in the insurance business, in the mortgage business, and with our clients over the last 12 months, that part of the problem is you.
Not you who's watching us. You are the exception.
Well, hopefully you are the exception, because when I say you, I'm talking about to the general audience who may be watching this video in the future, in the sense that Linda mentioned the phrase garbage in, garbage out. I mean, I've trained dozens of loan officers in my career, and that's one of the things I told them. I said, if you're putting a loan application in and you want to get your commission check, you want to get paid, and you want your client to get their mortgage money, garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage into the file, don't expect that it's going to move smoothly through the system or at all. I promise you, if I'm sitting at my desk back in my mortgage business, and I'm sitting at my desk and it's 9:30 at night and I've put in a 14-hour day, and I'm sitting there and I've got a client who just emailed documents for a pre-qualification. They haven't even bought a house yet. They just want to get pre-qualified. And I open up the email and I've got PDFs that are not labeled, You know, it says scan 67XY39523. And I've got to spend now at 9:30 at night trying to figure out what that scan is. And then, and then mixed in with the scan, it's like the tax returns and the bank statements so I've got to separate all the scans. It's 9:30 at night. You know what I'm doing? I'm not working on that file.
Right.
I'm going home.
Right.
I'm going to go home. And that person is not going to get pre-qualified that night. It's the same thing that's happening right now. And for you small business owners who are not taking the time to properly upload your documents, we have done all the videos. Kathy Lee complimented us on the phone a few minutes ago about our videos are easy to understand. Please watch our videos and do your documents that way, because you know what you're doing? You're mucking it up for everybody else.
Well, we also wrote a blog on our website, which you can find. We have a new website that's easier to understand, disasterloanconsulting.com. It'll lead you to our Aurora Consulting. But there is a blog on how to submit documents to the SBA. We did it specifically so that you can remove part of the obstacle. Listen, the SBA, again, hasn't been our friend. They have not been an advocate for the small business. They're very constituency that they should be advocating for. So we have to get ahead of it as business owners. And we have to be better with how we are furnishing the requirements to get this money, because they're not making it easy. So
but also, if the SBA, we hear this all the time. I just spoke to somebody just a couple hours ago on the phone. He said, well, the SBA told me to do it this way. Okay. But he didn't do it that way. He didn't do what the SBA told him to do. He submitted it, garbage in, garbage out. That's part of the problem. Yeah. When I see people on Facebook complaining, I've submitted this 6 times. We're not taking that away. That's true, because we experienced that in a business. I just talked about it a few minutes ago. We have a client recently that I've uploaded the same documents 3 times now. But if you are complaining and you did a crappy job of submitting your documents, you have only one person to blame. It's yourself.
Well,
show some respect. If you want the money, show some respect for the money. Show some respect for yourself and your business. And you know how you show your respect? By respecting the documents.
Yeah. And how you organize them to submit them. We're not trying to come down hard on you guys at all, but I will say,
I am.
I know you are, but some of the complaints that we hear could have been avoided. I think that's the frustrating part on our end. And, there are certain, as business owners or just as citizens with looking to take care of certain things, whether it's filing your taxes or buying a home or handling certain processes, there's a certain level of care that has to go into these types of processes. So is it processes or processes? Anyway, I digress. So, it's... You
say tomato, I say tomato.
Right. This is no different, except it may be new to all of us. A lot of businesses we didn't know there was an EIDL program for business closure because of a natural disaster, because COVID was newly declared a natural disaster last year. It wasn't part of the normal way that an EIDL loan was available, right? So EIDL is made available every single day when a community gets struck by a natural disaster. We get the Google alerts all the time for SBA disaster loans. And it says what communities the EIDL is open for you to file an EIDL loan. So for COVID, though, it's different. So as business owners, this may be a new protocol. But so we really just want to stress to you, please respect your process of organizing your data and your financials to submit it to the SBA.
You can respect the process or you can make excuses. I've had 2 people make excuses today about CPAs, about their accountants. Well, my accountant filed the tax return wrong because it should say the LLC on there, it shouldn't be under my name. And I said, but you are a sole proprietor. Well, yeah, I am, but my accountant, well, actually, no, your accountant maybe didn't explain it to you, but actually it was filed correctly. Or the other client who said, I didn't file a tax return in 2019. I took all my paperwork to the tax office and she said, you don't need to file a tax return. I said, did she ask you the question if you were planning on applying for financing in the future? Because you would need a tax return for that. Mm-hmm. That's part of respecting the process. It's a part of being responsible for your business.
And we actually, the people that are on this now are watching us because they do respect the process, because they're trying to learn how to manage it. So that's, if you have friends that are business owners, you can only, if they start complaining, then you need to ask them to get a little more curious to learn how this works, because otherwise the complaining isn't going to make anything happen. It's just going to be, but
I just
anyway.
wanted to shout out again to Kathy Lee, who on the phone a little while ago said, the thing I like about your videos is, it's calm and nobody's yelling.
Except for today.
And the funny thing was, I knew I was going to be yelling on this video, Kathy. So I knew I was going to be kind of losing my brains.
But yeah.
And so when you said that, I was like, oh boy, wait till she sees how we tune in tonight.
Well, if you're still with us, just wanted to, Taylor is not with us, but thank you, Kathy Lee. Thank you, Alejandro. Corey
hit the
Starks,
thumbs up button down there in the
yes,
in the replays, and hit the subscribe button, ding, 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 with the notifications.
And also, please check out our. We have a playlist that I designated for our shorts that are under 60 seconds, and those I've been creating those to answer Q&A questions about the process and certain nuances about the process. So check those out, because there is. We've answered some of the questions that we talked about here today, whether it was the 4506T. Or submitting documents, etc. So, Alejandro,
one other
thanks
thing
again.
Important to know.
Alejandro says, "Wait."
Yeah, visit loandisasterconsulting.com or auroraconsulting.biz. We are EIDL, authorized representatives for many small businesses, and you can hire us for a reasonable flat fee to do that. Important note about that, we've done a video in our playlist. It's called Form 159D. So watch that, about fees.
Yeah.
Consultants are permitted to assist you in preparing your EIDL application or reconsideration. They are permitted to get paid for that, but they are only permitted to get paid a fee up to $2,500 without additional permission and documents from the SBA. They are not permitted to receive a percentage of the loan amount, period. End of discussion. And we are hearing that there are consultants, quote unquote consultants, saying, oh, we'll take 3% of whatever we get you. That's the invitation. You're going to jail.
It's illegal.
If you hire those people. You will go to jail, because they're going to do fraud, and you're the one who's signing. You're the one that's going to jail. They will not go to jail.
And they can't guarantee a result. But let's
the fee that a business owner pays us cannot be contingent upon a result as per the SBA guidelines. And as brokers, we can never guarantee a result. That having been said, results the only thing worth talking about. That's what we do. We just keep going.
Keep fighting.
So keep that in mind. If you are interested in hiring us, you can find us on auroraconsulting.biz.
Okay.
Book a free consultation. We'll chat about it and see if it's a fit.
The link is in the description. All right. So Alejandro wants to know how we think it'll be after the loan increases. So first of all, the implementation of the loan increase is supposed to happen April 6th. We don't know if that'll be the case. And also, a couple of the contingencies of when they did the press release was that you don't have to even submit the reconsideration, right? And that they're saying
in the press release, don't call us.
We'll call you.
Except that's exactly what they've done with the targeted EIDL
and
advance.
Look what
and it'll take you a quick Google search anywhere to find out what a complete mess that is. So to answer your question, I think it's going to be a complete show, Alejandro. And I think that you, as a small business owner, if you want a piece of that cake, you're going to have to elbow your way up to the table to fight for a piece of the cake. You're going to have to do. That's why we're talking tonight about the state of affairs, so that you understand what's happening with the SBA and how we feel about it after 1 year. That the SBA administrators need to get their act together a lot faster than Isabel is doing. She's doing great, but it's got to go faster.
Well,
number two, that if you're submitting documents, be respectful of your process and professional. If you want a good result, then create an opportunity for a good result by presenting your documents. But if you want that EIDL loan increase, I don't know.
This is the thing. We have some data on how the SBA has behaved with their process, and it's not favorable. So it's hard to trust that, like, so Alejandro's asking, because everyone wants to believe that it's going to get better. How can it get worse? Or why wouldn't it get better? We already know the mistakes that the SBA should be saying, okay, we made this mistake. Let's not make the same mistake twice, except they're actually not following.
Well, it's good that, so Black Governor is asking the question. So if you already have, why do you keep covering it up when
because I'm trying to show it.
Okay, well, that's not helpful. I'm actually reading it.
All right.
Okay. Hey,
suck it.
Hey, apparently we're hangry. We need to eat some food. Little blood sugar drop. So if you have already had a loan, you have to submit more docs. Well, we don't know yet, Black Governor, because we don't know the press. All we've got right now is a press release. We have a press release about the restaurant grant program. No guidelines. We have a press release about the April 6th increase in the loan limit to $500,000 and 24 months working capital. No guidelines. What takes so long? I don't know. They have people who are harassing business owners for hazard insurance. I'm sure they could allocate some of those people to put their brains together and put guidelines together, but that's just me talking out loud. But to answer your question about more documents, what we have seen with our own clients and with what we've read about people here on YouTube and on Facebook, et cetera, Clubhouse, on the targeted EIDL advance is that there's an IRS 4506T. This is supposed to be the balance of a $10,000 grant that was supposed to be automatic last year. But now SBA has made everybody jump through hoops to do a 4506T. You know why? Because they're looking to prevent fraud. Except the people who committed the fraud, they already got the $10,000.
It's so stupid.
There's got to be a better way.
I can't decide if I'm going to cry or I'm going to laugh or
and
cry
let's talk about
to sleep.
Black Governor. To answer your question, let's hyper extend that into the PPP rollout of 2021, second round. It's a complete mess because the SBA is doing the fraud prevention and lenders are re-underwriting these files for additional documents or saying, no, you're not qualified. Your tax returns, or we looked at your tax return. The lender's not supposed to do that. The PPP is a self-certification program. If you say my payroll was $22,375 average payroll every month times 2.5, that's my loan amount. That's all they're supposed to do. But what they're doing is they're saying, well, your documents don't support that.
Right.
And then you're getting $1,300 instead of $60,000.
So we've been on for over 52 minutes, and this has been sort of like
Alejandro, love you too. Thank you.
This is
Black Governor, love you too.
This has been sort of a compilation of all the pre-recorded 3-minute Advancing with Finance. This is like the variety show of our recorded videos.
Well, I'm not playing guitar tonight.
No,
not going to happen.
All right. Well, we want to say thank you
all for tuning
in. We really appreciate it. We wish we had better news. We wish we had some, the only positive thing was that Isabel Guzman finally lifted the caps and increased the EIDL loan amount.
She's doing what she basically, in a roundabout way, said she was going to do in her Senate confirmation hearing. She's doing it.
She's doing it. The only thing now is going to be how they roll out the implementation process so that business owners can actually then receive the money, not just apply, but receive the money.
And I don't know if for our clients here at Aurora Consulting, I'm just going to hint at our strategy. I'm not really sure I'm going to wait for a phone call that may never come.
No, we don't. I mean, Alejandro did ask us to wait, but we don't like waiting, Alejandro. We need shit now. We need to get stuff
Results
done now.
Are the only thing worth talking about. Our clients hired us to get a result. So as this other note, so we're here at the dining room table. Right in front of us here is the windows that look out on the back of the property. I'm just going to share that with you. That's all right. And while we've been sitting here, chatting with you all, the sun has been going down. The west is that way, but on the trees back here, we get to watch this brilliant golden sunlight, and it just you see it drops and it gets lower and lower and lower, and it shines across the windows so it's great lighting. But now it's getting darker out there, and the studio lights are really like freaking me out.
Yeah.
I feel
All
like I'm in a White Castle at 3 a.m. after being drinking all night,
What?
out drinking, dropping about 22 sliders.
I need,
Oh, yeah.
I need an adult beverage. Pronto.
You walk into White Castle, it's 2:30 in the morning. You've been out drinking with your pals all night, dancing. You go in there to get a sack full of sliders, and that fluorescent light is like, wow! Oh, wow! Okay, I'll take 25 cheeseburgers and some onion rings.
I don't think there was ever a time I was like, ooh, I want some White Castle. That is not a habit.
The woman
in my
has
life.
never had White Castle in her life.
No, I don't. There was just never one around me wherever I was. But anyway, I think
I worked at White Castle when I was in college.
I think what I'm going to do with this video, because we broadcast this through StreamYard, which is the live streaming
Thanks,
platform.
Jamar.
And I'm going to probably I'm going to download this and then dice it up and then take some pre-recorded and then upload those. So you're probably going to see segments of this show in shows. It's just an easy way to get some videos up there, get some information out there.
We get a little massage in on that.
Okay, we're losing viewers here. All right. So, hey, everyone, be safe, be well. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. We are over 800 subscribers right now. Totally jammed about that. Really appreciate it. And
jammed or jazzed?
Jazzed. I'm jazzed about jamming.
Jammed it makes it sound like you had something bad to eat yesterday. You've got
jamming. No, I'm jamming. I'm jamming about it.
That's not jammed. No, it's jamming is not jammed.
Okay. Well, Jamar understands.
We're jamming to the beat of the Lord. That's Bob Marley. I mean, he doesn't say we jammed.
We're jamming.
Bob Marley says jamming.
We're jamming.
He doesn't say jammed.
We're jazzed.
To me, jammed.
Whatever. My God.
Sounds like
this part will not be in a future video.
Hey, listen, you want to get a result for yourself. Read our blog, watch our videos. We take it through you step by step. Kathy, thank you for your kind compliment, because we set up our short videos 2 or 3 minutes to teach you each aspect of the process and make it easy for you to understand.
Except for this.
But here's the secret ingredient. People say to us, hey, when they hire us, like, so what's the magic bullet? Do you know somebody at the SBA, Trevor? You know, what's your magic recipe? There is no magic recipe. This is it right here. 3 P's, and they lead to an R. P number 1, patience. P number 2, persistence. P number 3, process. Patience, persistence, and process leads to
equals
result. That's it. That's all it is. And whatever expert advice we can give to you for free, we're here to do that so you can use the 3 P's to get to the R. If you want to hire us, you can find us at disasterloanconsulting.com. I promise you the fee is reasonable and it's a flat fee. We're amazing at what we do.
We are amazing.
We have gotten spectacular results for clients. But part of our frustration with sharing with you tonight is because of what we've seen over the last 12 months.
Anyway, thank you again.
It's getting really dark out there.
Yes. Thank you again. Take care, everybody.
Scared.
Please stay healthy, stay strong. And we will see you again.
And whenever possible, go to White Castle, get some cheeseburgers.
Thank you, Jamar. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. We'll talk to you soon. Ciao.